guys, Brian with Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana with another Explore the Card episode where we take a deep dive into the Michael Jordan card market from the 80s or 90s, and we pick a particular insert or parallel, or sometimes base card, but usually insert or parallel. And we pick it apart. We look at the history of the card. We look at the set that the card emanates from. We look at similarly priced cards and make judicious, wise decisions about which card would be best for our collection. We look at the aesthetics of the card. We look at the historical prices and population of the card. And that's what today's episode is about. It's nothing new. If this is your first time watching one of these episodes, please, I urge you to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon for notifications. These episodes come out usually every Friday, but sometimes it's maybe three Fridays a month. Sometimes I take a Friday off, just depending on how busy I am. But today's episode is about this, a bad boy right here. One of my favorite inserts from the 90s. The elusive and very popular and very colorful 1995 Stadium Club Beam Team B14. One of the best and baddest there is in the 90s. It is interesting. We're going to talk a little bit more about the history of the card and the aesthetics of the card and whatnot. But as always, I approach you guys every single time from a position of transparency. Again, I want to reiterate, a lot of people out there tell you how great they are at this and how much money they make buying and selling cards and things like that. If I make a lot of money buying or selling cards from an investor perspective, I share it with you. If I get my ass handed to me, I share it with you. If you guys haven't figured that out by now, you've not been paying attention. And so that's one thing that I do pride myself on is I don't just show you the home runs. I show you the swings looking, or usually I'm swinging, strike three swinging, to use a baseball analogy. Anyway, so I've got pulled up on the screen my copies. I've got the 1995 Stadium Club Beam Team PSA 10, and I have got, and that's it right there on your screen. And then I've got the 1995 Stadium Club Beam Team PSA 8. As you guys know, I have a high-end collection. I have a low-end collection. I've got the 10. I've got the 8. I'm covered on the Beam Team regular. Again, anytime you see a Stadium Club insert, you're usually going to, know that there's a members-only parallel out there for these as well. There is a members-only parallel, and let me show you how those cards are different. You're looking at the Beam Team PSA 10 that's in my PWCC vault, so I can share these high-def images with you. I want you to pay particular attention to this lower right-hand corner and watch what happens when I show you the Beam Team members only. Boom, there you go. See that on the bottom right, that little gold foil stamp that says members only? That is the distinction between the ordinary Beam Team and the Beam Team members only. It's glaring. You can't miss it. Sometimes it's in the top left, top right on some of these other Beam Team parallels, but on this particular 95 Beam Team, you're going to see that in the bottom right corner. And so, again, that's normal. That is Beam Team parallel right there. So I do not own either one of those members only, so I am on the hunt. I'm on the prowl. The PSA 8 members only is hard to find. The PSA 10 is hard to find. We're going to look at pop reports in a second, and you guys will understand just how stupid rare those cards are. But as always, we like to start by, or I like to start by always sharing with the viewers and the listeners what set these inserts and parallels come from, just sort of like where the foundation is for these cards in its 1995 Stadium Club. Nothing super sexy or special about this. At this point, Stadium Club was still printing the hell out of these cards. There's plenty of them out there. There's 361 cards in this base set. Cards number 1 through 180 were released in Series 1. Cards number 181 through 361 were released in Series 2. And of course, this Beam Team is a Series 2 card. So we're going to talk about that and how that's different for different inserts in this product as well. But before we do that, let's finish the product. The rookies in 95, we always like to look at what rookies were in there because a lot of you guys who collect are rookie hunting. So if you're going to open a box hoping to get a Beam Team, you also want to know what are the chances of getting rookie A, B, C, D, E, etc. The big rookie is the big ticket, KG. We talk about that all the time when we look at cards from 1995. Michael Finley's in here, who I had the privilege of playing against. Jerry Stackhouse is in here. Rasheed Wallace is in here. Antonio McDyess is in here. And those are probably the next 4 best rookies in order, unless I'm missing somebody. But 1995 was KG. The Jordan is card number 1 of the base set, and there it is. This is what it looks like, just so you guys know. The PSA 10 for this is 125 to a 225 card. I know that sounds stupid. That's a crazy big range for a PSA 10 base card. But I'm telling you, the last couple cards that sold, I think one sold for like 120 and the other one sold for over $200. So there's no rhyme or reason. And if you scroll back, there's a lot of undulation for this particular card, and I'm not really sure why. If you look at this card, that is a great photo. I like the font on the back as well. I really like the card, to be quite honest with you. I said it's a ho-hum, not that sexy product, but it's only because there's so many of them printed. It is a Pop 287 in PSA 10, this card, the base I'm talking about. 2,338 of them have been graded, which yields a gem rate of about 13%. But let's talk about the insert sets in 1995 Stadium Club. So in Trading Card Database, I'm going to click Insert Sets, and I'm going to share it with you. And there it is. That's insert set that we're going to talk about today. But just so you know, there's 17 insert sets in this product. Yes, 17. Some of the big ones that feature MJ are Beam Team, Nemesis, which is the plural of Nemesis, I guess. Rain Men, Spike Says, Warp Speed. Those are just a few of the other ones that feature Jordan in this set. When I said there's 17 insert sets, I meant insert sets and or parallels, right? When we combine those. Members only is the big parallel, and there's pretty much a members only for everything out there. So that's important to remember, as we just discussed on the Beam Team 95. The Beam Team set itself, let's look at it. Let's look a little bit closer, not just the Jordan, but look at all of them in there. Yeah, there's 20 of them. It's a big old set. 92 was even bigger. But 95 Beam Team, they had pared it down, reduced it down to 20. 12 of the 20 are Hall of Famers, yielding a 60% Hall of Fame rate. So collectible, not collectible as a set, long term, I don't know. It's interesting. Honestly, I'd like to buy a box of 1995 Stadium Club members only. If I could track one down, open it, take the raw Beam Teams and send them off to PSA and try to get 8s and 9s and 10s. There's just not a lot of them out there, and I think there might be some good value in doing something crazy like that. Some of the imposters, there's no real true imposters. Like, you're not going to get a freaking Judd Bushler or something like that in here. The weakest players are probably Cedric Ceballos. And again, when I say weakest players, these guys were good pros, man. Cedric Ceballos, Rod Strickland was awesome, right? Kenny Anderson, Jamal Mashburn, Juwan Howard, those are probably the weakest. And so it's not like there's a lot of true imposters in here, but the Hall of Fame rate does leave a little bit to be desired, only 12 out of the 20. But it does have the great Shaquille O'Neal, and it does have the great Michael Jeffrey Jordan. This is where it gets a little bit weird for the Beam Team inserts when we're talking about pack odds. So I want you guys to know what the pack odds are. Beam Teams 1 through 10 were Series 1. Beam Teams 11 through 20, the other half, the later half, the Jordan half, were Series 2. Beam Team 1 through 10, not Jordan, but you can pull a Shaq in there. You can pull a David Robinson. You can pull, Sean Kemp, and you can pull a Zoe, stuff like that. Those were 1 in 18 packs. The Series 2 were a little bit screwy. You could pull them out of hobby, and you could pull them out of retail packs. It's twice as hard to pull them out of a retail pack. So the Beam Team 11 through 20, and that's where the Jordan fits, is 1 in 36 Series 2 hobby packs. It's 1 in 72 Series 2 retail packs. The Jordan odds to pull the Jordan is obviously those odds times 10. So the Jordan is 1 in 360 in the hobby packs, and the Jordan is 1 in 720 in the retail packs. Help me if I got that wrong. I think I got that right. It's not 20 times your odds, because remember, you're not opening Series 1 boxes, so you can only pull 10 different Beam Team 11 through 20. You can't pull 1 through 20. If you didn't know what box you were opening, Series 1 or 2, then the odds would be times 20, but we know we're opening Series 2. We know that only Beam Teams number 11 through 20 are available, so I think it's 1 in 360 for the hobby and 1 in 720 for the retail. Let's talk about the card itself. Okay, I've got it pulled up again. This is one of the beautiful things about vaulting. I know it's not for everybody. It's what I like to do. It's how I like to share my collection. It's how I like to house the cards, because I do have a lot of cards. I think last count I had like 1,295 Jordan cards. I can't keep that in my house. I don't even know where to put 1,295 slabs. And so I keep them in Oregon in the PWCC /Fanatics vault. And so you're looking at the front of the card. This is die cut, right? So just like the platinum portraits, these little holes here are die cut. If I put my hand behind the card, which you could do if it was in hand and not in a vault, I can't do that. Also, the letters at the top, those are die cut as well. Beam and team, die cut. But the Jordan face right there, just over Jordan's, just to the left of Jordan's right shoulder, left of Jordan on the card if it's facing you. Those are also like pinhole die cuts like we see in the platinum portraits and the titanium and things like that. The molten metal fusion titanium, etc. The back of the card also just as cool. And there you can see there's the reverse negative of the front pinhole die cut image. You can also very clearly now on the back see that the beam on the top is die cut and the team on the bottom is die cut. And yes, this is a PSA 10, and yes, it is not perfect. You can definitely see whitening, but you got to remember, you can see whitening on the edges and on the corners. But you got to remember is sometimes cards get jostled around inside the slab. That's number one. Number two is not PSA 10. PSA 10s are not perfect cards. Number three is this is zoomed in like a mazillion, billion, gazillion high def times, and so it's going to show any and all whitening anywhere and everywhere. If you're holding the card in your hand, it's not going to jump out and slap you in the face like it does on these crazy high def images. But yes, I realize this. The PSA 10 is not perfect. Let's see what the PSA 8 looks like under magnification. Obviously, noticeably worse, right? You can see, bigger white chunks here. You got even a little scratch up here. It's not going to be perfect. And this is why, Jordan collecting is so amazing is like PSA 8, PSA 6, raw, PSA authentic. I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter. It's a collectible card. The pack odds are nuts. Not by Jordan standards, but think about opening 720 packs to pull a Jordan. That's pretty hard to do. So anyway, that's what the card looks like. Let's read the back. We always read the back. Oh, look, there's nothing to read. It's just a bunch of little colorful charts. They use a lot of color in the back of this card, and I like the way that the color gradation is from top to bottom. But they just show us points per game, rebounds per game, blocks per game. They show 94 Michael Jordan, 94 NBA high. So somebody averaged more points than MJ in the league, 16.8. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that was probably Rodman. Blocks per game, 3.91. I'm guessing Mutombo. Points per game in 1994. Who would have led the league in points? I know Shaq led it 1 year. I don't know. I guess I should know that. I don't know. It's MJ clearly would never lead the league in rebounds or blocks per game, but I thought he would have led it in points because he had 10 scoring titles. But anyway, let's. That might have been the year where he came back from retirement. I'm not really sure. Anyway, let's keep going. That's it for the card. That's it for the aesthetics of the card. I'm sorry, I'm not the most artistic cat around there, but you guys can look at it and make up a bunch of colorful artistic words to describe it if you choose to. Let's give the people what they want, which is pops and prices. And that's what I've created here in this handy-dandy table. As always, not as always, but as we usually have, we have the 2 gem mint grades and we have the 2 mint grades from both PSA and BGS. And so you'll see the PSA 10 and BGS 9.5 on the top 2 rows, the mint grades from those same companies on the bottom 2 rows. What stands out to me on this table? And again, feel free to screenshot this or take a picture with your camera if you're in the market for this card. This data is for you guys. It's an educational tool, not just for me, but also for you. That's why I do these videos. So you guys will have a library when I get done screaming, and I can no longer scream at the camera, and maybe we'll have hundreds of these out there. So anybody who's looking to get into the Jordan market will be able to dig back. And again, the pops and the prices won't be super relevant long term, but at least you'll have a little bit of a backstory and a little bit of a history of the card and what the cards look like and things like that, and maybe some funny jokes interspersed throughout these videos. But the thing that stands out to me the most is the pops of the PSA 10 and the BGS 9.5. The BGS 9.5 is 3 times as rare. The gem rate's lower, but again, significantly more graded with PSA. So 29 PSA 10, 10 BGS 9.5. That's a combined gem population of only 39 cards. 39 cards to go around to the thousands, maybe tens of thousands, maybe more, I don't know, Jordan card collectors throughout the entire world. And we're talking the entire world. 39 is not a lot in PSA 10. It looks like a little over 900 have been graded combined between PSA and BGS. The gem rates are single digits, less than double, anytime 5% or below. That's a pretty tough gem rate. The last PSA 10 sold for $5,280, which is pretty damn close to the highest ever sold of $5,967. I do want to draw your attention to the BGS 9.5. It is not a $711 card, but that is what it sold for last, and that is the highest price it's ever sold for. And let me tell you why. Guess what year it sold? 2019. Yeah, almost 4 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, is the last one that sold. So that's pre-hobby explosion number one. That's pre-Last Dance / pandemic explosion. That's pre-hobby reset that we've experienced over the last 18 to 24 months. So that card sale of $711 predated a lot of craziness in the hobby. Think of how much the hobby has changed since the year 2019. I don't know what that card will be worth today. Let's see what Card Ladder thinks that card will be worth today. BGS 9.5, they're estimating it's worth about $28.70, and I think that's probably fair. That's about half of what the PSA 10 last sold for. So that's what they think the BGS 9.5 will be worth. Back to our table. The other thing that stands out is these two zeros right here. Neither one of the Gem Mint copies has sold in the last 6 months. Zero. So there's no average price. There's no percentage change. We don't know. We don't know where the next one's going to sell. And that's the interesting thing about Jordans right now and some of these low pop, high grade Jordans is that they don't sell often enough to make educated decisions. And so even though we're in a market where you can check all the indexes you want, whether you're a card ladder guy or a sports card investor or whatever that thing's called, market movers guy, you can check indexes. You can check the price of basketball cards. You can even check the Michael Jordan index and see what those cards have been doing. But I promise you, if a BGS 9.5 Pop 10, 95 Beam Team comes up, you cannot assume that the card's going to sell for 40% less than it did a year ago or 2 years ago. And again, that's a bad example because it hasn't sold since 2019, as I mentioned. But you get my drift. The next PSA 10 that comes up, even though we're in a declining market, in a market that's resetting and finding the floor, it may sell for $7,000. It's happening with other cards. It happened with Behind the Glass and a few others that I can't recall off the top of my head. But we're seeing some Jordans coming down. We're seeing some Jordans going up. There is no rhyme or reason to which ones are going up or which ones are going down. The one thing I will say, and that I've noticed lately, and this is a comment that may not age well, in the last 6 months, lower dollar figure cards are doing better overall than higher dollar figure Jordans. And I think it's because people have started to adjust their budget, get back into collecting and buying Jordan cards, and they're buying the $200, $400, $800 cards at a little more aggressive pricing, and they're fighting a little bit more, and more fish are swimming in that pond than in the 5-figure category. It's just the way it is. And I'm not saying that holds true for all cards. I mean, some low dollar cards are going down and some high dollar cards are going up. But I have noticed a little bit of a trend where $250 to $750 cards, some of those cards are doing quite well in a market where they're not supposed to be doing quite well. The other thing is the interesting dichotomy between the PSA 9 over the last 6 months. It's down 14%. And the BGS 9, and this is a great example, it's a $700 card, is actually up 40%. So in a market where all the cards are going down, including the PSA 9, the BGS 9 is up 40%. Now the price point on those is relatively similar, so that's not a 5-figure card versus a 3-figure card analysis or comparison. But it is interesting how one's going up and one's going down, and the difference between the two is 54% aggregate. That's a big deal. The other thing is the Pop PSA 10 and BGS 9.5, 0 have been added to the population since April of 2021. So we're talking about, between the two grading companies, that's over 50 months. And over 50 combined months, basically, right, between the two grading companies. 0 10s have been added. 13 PSA 9s, 4 BGS 9s have been added. There are no BGS 10s. There are no BGS 10 black labels. As I mentioned, there's 39 combined gem copies between PSA and BGS. And as I mentioned, they have sold 0 times over the last 6 months. What's on eBay? I always like to look at what's on eBay in case you guys are looking. If I type in 95 Beam Team Michael Jordan, watch this. without the B14 card number, this is what I get. And the reason I get it is because they printed the hell out of this card. You're going to pull up other years for whatever reason. I'm not really sure why, but you're going to pull up a hell of a lot of other Beam teams, and you're really going to pull up a lot of this card that you see right there, okay? So make sure when you're searching, just go ahead and plug in B14. Any respectable seller or any listing should put B14 in there so you can distinguish it. If they don't, then their card's not going to sell for what it should, probably because people like us aren't going to find it. But if I do that, there's actually one. It's a Beam Team PSA 8. It's at 267, ending in the next 6 hours. So that's interesting. By the time you watch this, that card will have sold. CSG is always an interesting play, right? I don't personally collect cards in CSG slabs. I think the slabs are gorgeous. I really do. I think it's a good looking slab, especially if you hold it in hand. I've held a couple of them in hand. They look really good. But crack, resub, who knows what it's going to come back. What I've heard, comment and let me know what you do or don't agree with. I've heard that CSG grades extremely hard and extremely harshly, and there's a great deal of scrutiny applied to their grades. And so sometimes a CSG 9 might come back a PSA 9. If that's the case, there's money to be made there. So interesting. And there's a PSA 9 that's at $999 right now, but we know we looked at that on the pop table to see what it should sell for. Those are selling for about $876. That one's starting at $999. So not crazy, not a crazy starting bid, but it may or may not get a bid in this, like I said, this market that's just sort of resetting. So that's what you get. 21 results for the Beam Team. What if we plug in the Beam Team B14 PSA 10? I just out of curiosity, is that out there? No. What about BGS 9.5? Let's search that just so we can search this together, folks. No, nothing. Okay, what if you're a degenerate pack ripper and you want to take a chance and try to pull it? Well, first of all, I typed in 95 Stadium Club 2 because it's in Series 2 that we're looking for. Box basketball. Here's what I got. I still got 94, 95, so ignore that. I did get 7 results. These say Top Stadium Club Extreme Basketball. I don't think that's anything different. I think that's what we're talking about. I think for whatever reason they thought adding the word extreme would like make people want to go out and buy more Stadium Club cards, like thinking it's something different. It's a little bit misleading if you ask me, but this is it. This is the Top Stadium Club from 1995. This is Series 2, so it does have Jordan. There's a retail and a hobby, and so I don't know what this is at all. I have no idea what this is. It says 95 Stadium Club members only box set with Jordan, Kidd, Hill, but it only has 50 cards in it, so I don't really understand what that is. Maybe somebody who's a lot smarter than me can tell me what that is. It's only $24 also, so I don't know what's in there. I don't get it. I guess I could click it and read it, but I don't care enough. 95 Stadium Club Series 2 unopened box, $250. Same thing, $289. Same thing, $250. I think these are retail. In fact, I know they're retail because this one calls it a retail. This is what the retail box looks like. The fat, juicy one is what the hobby box looks like, okay? The hobby is only a little bit more expensive, which seems really odd to me. Honestly, I want to click buy it now, right now, and open this thing and just have some fun. Here's what I worry about. I worry about losing the brick lottery. One of my good viewers of the channel called it that the other day. He's like, congrats, you won the brick lottery, because I was opening a members only 1993 and none of the cards were bricked together or like stuck together. And he's like, congrats on winning the brick lottery. So we'll see how PSA treats me. Retail, hobby. There's a couple options out there. $250 for the retail, $280 for the hobby. Would be a pretty fun rip, I'll be honest with you, because like I said, when we looked at TDCB, there's a couple other really cool insert sets out there. Nemesis, Power Zone, Rain Men. Spike says has Jordan in there. Warp Speed, but you're not going to get the Jordan, remember, because Jordan's Series 1 on Warp Speed, right? I did get that right. Yep. Jordan is, yes, card number 1, so he's number 1 in Warp Speed. So if you open Series 2, you're not going to pull the Warp Speed, which is one of my favorite inserts. It's one of my favorite affordable inserts. What do I own and in what grade? I own the PSA 10, the PSA 8, which I've already shown you. Am I a buy, a sell, or a hold? I'm a hold for both, for Cajun Eternity, copyright Cajun Cardboard. I still need the members only of both. So I'm a hold and I'm a buyer, but I'm a buyer only for the members only 8 and the members only 10 or BGS 9.5. Is the card a low, a mid, a high, or grail level card based on the value? Let's go back to our pops and prices table. As you can see, it's a little bit over the threshold to make it a mid-level card in a PSA 10, and then it is a clear low-level Jordan insert for BGS 9.5, and then the 2 mint grades because it's less than $5,000. So you're looking at probably a 4-figure card for sure for a BGS 9.5, but you can still sneak in with a mint copy, whether PSA or BGS floats your boat, for less than 4 figures. You can do that for $999 or below, $999 or below. What are some similar cards for this value? You've got $5,200, $5,000, and you want to spend it on Jordan, but you're not sure what to buy. You're looking at this 95 Beam Team that we're talking about here today, but you might want to buy something else. What else is in that $5,000 range that's a PSA 10? Well, I got 3 for you. The 1993 Stadium Club Beam Team, which is, I don't think it's as aesthetically pleasing as the 95. I don't think it's ugly by any stretch, but I don't think it's quite as badass. That's what it looks like right there, and I just pulled one of those out of a box and I sent it off to PSA. So stay tuned. Watch the channel if you want to see that box rip. But that's the 93 Stadium Club Beam Team. As you can see, that's pop 26, which is almost exactly the same as the 95 Beam Team, because I think we said it was a, PSA 9, right? Yeah, I mean a 29. There it is right there. So the 93 Stadium Club Beam Team is about a $5,000 card, somewhere thereabouts. The Rockstars Refractor, beautiful insert. There's a Rockstars base. This is the refractor, so it's a insert parallel in a PSA 10. That's a pop 65. Pretty cool card right there. That's also about a $5,000 card. And then lastly, there's the 97 Skybox Premium Competitive Advantage, which is about a $5,000 card as well. It's die cut. It's got those. I just remembered there was Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian. Corinthian had the leaves. Those are the types of columns in ancient Rome, or is it Greece? I don't know. I think it's Rome. Corinthian has the leaves, so that's not Corinthian. I think Doric was the most basic, and I think Ionic was had a little bit more flair. Somebody correct me in the comments if you're an archaeologist or if you're just an expert on like Roman columns. I think it's Roman. Is that Doric or Ionic? I don't know. That's how nerdy I am. I paid attention in history class, so things were a little different back then when education actually mattered. Now it doesn't. People seem to get rich by TikTok. Anyway, I'm digressing. What would I choose and in what order? I will tell you this. I will go right here with the Beam Team PSA 10 first. That's the first card that I would choose is the Beam Team PSA 10. It's die cut. It's colorful. It's pop 29, which is lower. The competitive advantage is a little bit higher than the 93 Beam Team. Second, I would go with the Rockstars. Even though it's the highest pop out of these 3 cards, I think, right? Yeah, the highest pop. I just like the look of the card, and it's die cut, and it's an insert and a parallel. I don't know why. Normally I'm inserts over parallels. This is an insert and a parallel, which is like the best of both worlds. So I'm going Rockstar Refractor with card number 2. Next, I would go Competitive Advantage because it stands out. It's just clearly a card. If you see it, you're like, that's a competitive advantage. It could be freaking Ronnie Cycli, and you're going to be like, competitive advantage, because it just looks so different. I love cards that look so different. I think of Cut Above. I think of Competitive Advantage. I think of Hot Shots. I think of other inserts like that. Google them if you don't know what those are. And then lastly, I'm going to go with the 93 Beam Team, even though it's the lowest pop out of all 3, right? All of those cards are about the same value. You can't go wrong spending $5,000 on any of those cards. I'm never going to tell you what to buy. I'm just telling you the order that I would buy the cards on. On the Cajun cardboard scale of Jordan card relevance, guys, I give this card a 7. Some things to consider, and the reasons why I got a 7 is it's a low pop. You haven't been able to find a PSA 10 Gem Mint copy in the last 6 months for PSA or BGS. It's about a $5,000 card, which puts it in that mid-level. It's not a valuable enough or rare enough insert in and of itself to be an 8 on my scale of 1 to 10. But it's also no slouch, and it's not just another insert to get it into that PSA 6 range. I give it a PSA 7. I think it's the Mitch Richmond of Jordan inserts of the 90s. If you guys are old enough to remember who that is, he's a Hall of Famer, so Google it. Anyway, guys, that's it for the day. That was episode number 67. Hopefully you all enjoy these Explore the Card episodes. Hopefully, and I know it's working, and I'm not trying to, like, I have no I do have an incentive because I like talking about Jordan cards with people. I have no financial incentive to bring more Jordan people into the market and challenge me for the cards that I want to buy. I am doing it because I love this. I love collecting Jordan cards. I love collecting cards first, right? That's the big umbrella. I really love collecting and talking about Jordan cards. I don't know if you can tell. I've been doing this channel for free for about 2 years, and so It's pretty good evidence that I care about collecting Jordan cards enough to talk about it a lot, not for a few hours, but for hundreds of hours for free. So I think that these episodes are bringing people in, and the reason I think that is I get messages from people that say, man, I watched your episode, I didn't know anything about it, I'm back into Jordan collecting, what should I buy first? And of course I never answer them. I give them a couple of options and say, what do you think looks the best? And then we kind of go down that road. But I'm getting messages from people saying, I didn't collect cards at all, or I never thought about collecting Jordan, or even more importantly, and this is the message I like getting the most, I didn't think I could afford to collect Jordan. You can collect Jordan. You can afford to collect Jordan on a budget. I'm posting on Instagram PSA 8s every freaking day. You trust me, you can. I just posted an end-to-end insert PSA 8 that was $25. My 10-year-olds could collect that card, right? If you mow enough yards or, whatever, do enough chores, right? $25 for a Jordan PSA 8 insert. If you don't just hyper focus on the grade, and I know that sounds funny coming from a grade snob like me, right? I have those high-end cards in that grade, and they're only that valuable because of the grade number that some random grader assigned to it. I know I play that game, but I'm telling you out there are other ponds to swim in, and I am having so much fun buying PSA 8s right now, checking those boxes off, sharing those with you guys on mail days on Saturdays and Sundays. So hopefully these Explore the Card episodes are appreciated. If you've watched this far into the video, you're a trooper, man, and I appreciate your time. There's a million things you can watch on YouTube, and I know nobody has an attention span either more. I've got 2 hands raised. So if you've watched 30 minutes plus of me talking about one Jordan card, then either A, you don't hate me, or B, you love collecting Jordan cards, or C, you're intrigued by it and might consider collecting Jordan cards. Always feel free to message me. I'm easy to reach on Facebook or Instagram. I'm Cajun Cardboard. On YouTube, I'm Cajun Cardboard. I think I'm going to stop putting stuff out on podcast platforms. Nobody listens to that crap. I'm getting no plays, and so I don't know how that stuff works. So YouTube's where it's out for me anyway, because I screen share so much. So thank you guys for watching. Enjoy your weekend. You're watching this, well, you're going to get it on a Friday. You may be watching it whenever, but hopefully you enjoy your weekend in and out of the hobby. I do have mail days every Saturday, sometimes Saturday and Sunday. Just stay tuned and hit the bell icon, and make sure you subscribe. It's free, and it's the one thing you can do to really help me grow the channel is hit that subscribe button if you're listening to me consistently anyway. I really do appreciate it. Keep collecting, stay positive in the hobby. Peace.